Hi, everyone. Mitch from Pick Dogs here with Costi. We got Al McMorty, Joe Vaughn, Brian Bittler, and Tony T. We got an all-star team here today. Going through today's slate, we got college hoops, we got NBA. We're going to skip the NHL because nobody here really cares about it, which makes it an even better show for me. Costi, how's it going today?
Oh, man, it was a fun game to watch.
You did, man.
What's that?
What game? We didn't get to hear what game you were talking about.
What, I get cut out?
You did. No, you're muted.
I'm muted.
You were, not anymore.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Got the job done with the Kings. That was our big game on the board yesterday. I know Jokic was banged up throughout the game, so it was a blowout. But even I think with him healthy, like I said yesterday, Sabonis is a type of player that could manage Jokic and still get his. It's not really a head-to-head matchup against those two centers. So I love what I saw of them at home. Got the job done. Profitable in the night. Can't complain. Ready for this big Saturday.
Well, I got a lot of emails, and we saw a lot of YouTube as well about our show that we did on Thursday. So we'll be probably trying to add a show like that. Maybe you and I will do it, maybe a half hour a day, just real quick, where we don't really do too many game picks, just a handful of game picks, and then maybe just answer audience questions. Overwhelming response. I used to do a show like that every day, and I haven't been doing it in a while. Al, how's it going?
Oh, it's going. 3-1 yesterday. I've got about 12 or 13 plays today, so big card, and of course the Super Bowl tomorrow.
Nice. So how do you treat the Super Bowl? Is it just another bet on the board, or is it a special thing for you?
I mean, it is just another game on the board. It's kind of, as you know, Mitch, you've been in this business a long time. It's a weird game because everyone, all of our friends, people who we run into on the street, and they want to talk to us about the game. Everyone thinks it's a lot bigger of an event than it really is. It's one game for us. We'll make more money on today on college basketball Saturday than we will, for the one game tomorrow. But again, the average person out there, it is a big game for the average person. So it's kind of a weird game, but yeah, it's just one game.
Yeah, for me, that's the same way I feel about it. And I get the same thing. I get it all year round. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Who's going to win the Super Bowl? So get people like, they don't ask me, is this a busy week for you or anything? They kind of like basically take it and say, this must be a really busy week for you. But yeah, it's really busy because we got 400 college basketball games today. That's why it's a busy week, because they crammed everything in. And then what they'll do is, and Tony's already laughing because he knows, then on Monday, where the NBA generally goes like just a regular schedule, and then we have a MEAC and SWAC fest in college hoops, because there's only a handful of college hoops games tomorrow, and because there's only, 2 NBA games tomorrow. Then Monday we have a little bit larger day than we normally have, and then they'll pick up. And then with the All-Star break starting next weekend, it's like they're going to be packing the NBA games in this week, to get them all in before the break. And
yeah, like for our loyal clientele, everyone who watches the show, people who are gambling every day, 365 days a year, I think for most people it's just one game. It's just that for some people who aren't gamblers, it's a big event. The people who bet one game a year, they bet March Madness and the Super Bowl, but they're not betting 365. So, for that crowd, it's a big deal. But for the rest of us, it's just one game.
Yeah, my neighbor has a hell of a party for the Super Bowl. They used to own a diner, and it's just catered to the hilt, and they got everything going on. So I'm pretty excited about that. Just a lot of people. I don't get out much, so to go out and mix with people that don't know me, that don't know really what I do, to all of those things. It's just a lot more fun for me, than to have a bunch of people ask me who's going to win the Super Bowl, and things of that nature. But Jovan, how's it going? Glad that you're here with us today. I know that these weekend schedules have changed up, but you're still riding it out. So I always get excited when Jovan's here. It's like because Jovan's like the one guy on the panel that, well, I guess everybody, but Jovan and I can like just talk sports for basically just turn the camera on or off and just talk sports for about 6 or 7 hours. So I'm excited that he's here. What do you think of today's card? I mean, enough games for you on there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's an NBA slate that we have to dig into. Also, usually have a more condensed NBA schedule on the Saturday, but I guess this Saturday is a little bit different. I see a lot of landmines in this college slate. A lot of competitive games that I think are going to take place today. It's February, college basketball. A lot of teams or there's a few teams on the bubble need to win, to bolster their chances to get an at-large bid. It always makes for an interesting Saturday.
Yeah, we're kind of at that point. We're double digits in February, so that means 19 days left in the month this year before we hit March. And that doesn't mean there's that many games left. And, for most of these teams, so like you said, a lot of teams are on the bubble, but then you have a lot of teams played each other once already this season. So you got some revenge out there. You've got, what Costi believes is a big home court advantage, especially in these Saturday games. But I don't know about today. I think some of these lines lend themselves to the road team. I'm probably on more road teams today than I have been in a while. Brian, and a lot of squares out there today, or what do you think?
No, boy, yesterday, a rare 3-0 Friday, I got very lucky with VCU cash, and it could have went either way. Today's card, definitely some landmines out there. And I agree with you. There's some road favorites that look good today. It's just a loaded, packed card. Definitely looking to get into it.
I'm watching the Don Best screen. I have my other computer right here and it's like, it's just flying, man. I mean, the numbers are just changing by the second. They're oscillating, back and forth. It's not like, a progression up the ladder on a lot of these games. So, it means these lines are really, really tight. Is what that means. And there's people on both sides. Tony, enough games out there for you?
Oh, yeah. Enough games. Kind of taking a regional approach with the Pac-12. There's a lot of Pac-12 games alike today. And these NBA playoff contenders, you better knock the Lakers out. The Pelicans had an opportunity to, give a loss to the Lakers and let them win this game. And I still scratch in my head. If you see the Lakers on your schedule and you're a playoff team in the West, you better bring your best game because you do not want to see this team in the playoffs.
No, you absolutely don't, because by the time they get rested and healthy and all that kind of good stuff, when they absolutely want the game, they seem to be able to get them this year. And it doesn't really matter who they're playing. We saw them going to Boston and bust up the Celtics. We saw them, beat the Thunder in OKC. They can get it done against anybody. I don't think they're overly concerned. Any college teams out there that you think are the most disappointing this season? I always like to look there first.
Yeah, I think USC by far is one of the most disappointing teams in college. Of course, UCLA is trying to turn it around. You were right on spot on the drive-through Wednesday, Mitch, with UCLA money line.
Yeah, it just seems that they're making a late run. Mick Cronin, generally a late season coach. What we've seen from him in the last couple of years, because he had Hawkes and Campbell, which makes everybody a better coach, is he was better, good in the first half of the season as well. But traditionally, he's always been a better second half of the season coach. His team starts to peak in February, and then he tries to get them through March, tries to get out of his own way. I think for me, it's Villanova and Arkansas, neck and neck, Maybe Villanova could be number one, and then Arkansas is up there too. I think USC as well, only because they were more of a hype machine. But I thought Villanova, who went out and, pounded the transfer portal, was waving money around, got everybody they wanted in the portal, and still can't win games 12-11. I think that's coach firing bad there. And I think that Arkansas, I'm not sure what the heck's going on there. These guys had a top 5 recruiting class every single year, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. But I think they'll figure it out in a hurry. Musselman I mean, he's not going to run dry on talent. We know that. But anyways, let's get into this schedule. It is a monster of monsters today. Jay is out. Those of you joining us late or early or at any time, Jay is out. He's in Colorado. He'll be back tomorrow. He's said he might pop in, but so far I don't see him. But if he does pop in, we'll bring him in. He was in yesterday on the road. It was snowing. Did not look like much fun. If you don't like snow like me. But we got Brown versus Columbia. Do you want me to read the games? Let's see. Yeah, let's read them. There's a lot of NBA, there's a lot of college, but so what? Brown versus Columbia, Western Illinois, Tennessee, Martin, Rutgers, Wisconsin, G-Dub versus Loyola, Chicago, Syracuse, Clemson, Georgetown, UConn, LSU, Bama, Iwapui, PFW, Changs, Xavier, Creighton, St. Joe's, St. Louis, Gardner-Webb, High Point, Central Connecticut State versus Fairleigh Dickinson, South Carolina versus Vandy, Canisius versus Iona, UMBC versus UVM, VMI versus Samford, Northeastern Monmouth. This is probably not the way to do this. App State versus Toledo. We've got a Sun MAC today. Sunbelt takes on the MAC today. I know they didn't advertise it too much because they didn't want people going nuts. You know, they didn't want to break the internet. But it is MAC versus Sunbelt today. Youngstown State, Green Bay, Army, Navy, FI. Oh, we'll stop there. We'll go up to 1:30 Eastern time. Costi, any meat on the bone here for you?
I like you just did the 12 to 1 o'clock slot.
Yeah, we did. We stopped at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I like the early slot. I like Syracuse at home getting the points. I know Clemson's playing extremely well. I mean, they're overall a good record, but on the road they're 4-4. They've been losing of late. And Syracuse, even though they haven't been covering, I don't think it's going to matter because they're getting points at home. I'm taking, again, I know Al sent me the stat sheet. There's no advantage for Saturday versus any other day of the week. But sometimes in situational handicapping, I use my gut, and I've just done this for many years. Saturdays, I sway to the home team. Hasn't steered me wrong yet. I like Syracuse getting the points and get the job done with 3.5 at the crib.
Clemson coming off the win against Carolina. Al.
Actually, Costi, you know, I mean, there's slight disadvantages on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the home teams compared to earlier in the week. For whatever that's worth, but that's over, thousands and thousands of games. I'm going to go out to the rack in Piscataway. Take a look at the Rutgers Wisconsin matchup. I mean, Rutgers has been great at home versus the better college basketball teams. And if you go back 5 years, the Scarlet Knights are now 21-3 ATS at home versus opponents with a 545 or better win percentage, provided Scarlet Knights were not favored by more than 3 points. Of course, here they're a 3.5-point home dog. I'll take Rutgers plus the points.
I like it. Wisconsin's been just sliding.
Yeah,
right
3 in a row. Look for them to lose their 4th in a row.
Outright. Money line there from Al McMorty. Jovan?
Couple here. I'm gonna roll with Syracuse. Just think it's a good spot for them. I believe they lost their last game. Clemson, always like to fake Clemson whenever possible. I think this is a spot where you could do so. Toledo, that Sun Belt MAC, one off or whatever. I just like Toledo in that spot. Getting too many points. I mean, it's laid too many points in that one. I weigh the Sun Belt against the MAC. I think the MAC's a stronger conference. So give me Toledo in that one. And two teams I don't particularly like. I like fading Rutgers and the Badgers. I'm gonna side with the Badgers. It's just a lane. Not really much commentary with that. It's really the lesser of two evils for that one. Wisconsin has been on a bit of a slide. I think they bounced back in this one against a team who really doesn't have any offensive juice.
Ryan?
Yeah, I have to agree with Big Al. He stole my thunder here. I like Rutgers plus the points here. Wisconsin's starting to slide, 3 straight losses. But I'll go with option 2 here. I like Youngstown State laying the points. Green Bay's been a cover darling, 9-1. I mean, Youngstown State is 8-2 last 10, so they've been a cover darling too. But this is a ton of points head to head. Youngstown State's 7-2-1 over the last 10 covering against Green Bay. They beat them last year by 30. I like Youngstown State laying the points.
Tony.
Yeah, I like Xavier here in this spot against Creighton. We know Creighton has not been a good cover team, but it's a short line here. But still, I like Xavier's defense at home. And Xavier, Creighton away from home will give up nearly 46% shooting. I like Xavier in this spot, and I'm kind of agreeing with the panel here with Toledo and as well as Rutgers.
I like Loyola Chicago against George Washington. I think George Washington's numbers are overstated, and I really look for Loyola Chicago to give them problems. These guys, it's that time of year where these guys just really, really play well, and they frustrate the hell out of teams. And I look for them to do the same here. It's like they don't do anything exactly perfect, but they don't do anything really that bad either. And I think in this conference, it's good enough, especially against a G-Dub team that shoots 44.5% from the floor and doesn't rebound all that well. So I'm going to roll with Loyola Chicago. Go to our next time slot. And we're going to start at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Let's see what we got. Got Middle Tennessee, FIU, Holy Cross, American, Richmond, LaSalle, St. Peter's, Fairfield, St. Bonnie's, Duquesne, Bucknell, BU, Yale, Cornell, Duke, Boston College, Iowa State, TCU, Butler, Providence. A lot of meat on the bone here. Robert Morris against Milwaukee, Harvard, Dartmouth, Missouri State, Indiana State, Binghamton, Bryant, Campbell, Stony Brook, North Dakota State, Nebraska, Omaha, North Dakota, Kansas City, Hampton, Wilmington, NCAA&T, Hofstra, Commerce versus New Orleans, North Florida versus Central Arkansas, Michigan State, Illinois, Georgia State versus Miami, Ohio, that Sun Belt thing, Southern Miss versus Western Michigan, Old Dominion, Central Michigan, Davidson, George Mason. That's it up until 3 o'clock, between 2 and 3. Costi, anything?
I like Richmond laying the points here. LaSalle is garbage, man. They've been playing terrible ball of late. They're 3-7 against the spread. They've only won 2 games out of their last 10. I think this is going to be a huge blowout game at home. Not only does Richmond win at home, but they cover almost all the time. I know the trends, it won't finish that way at the end of the season, so I'm not looking at that angle. But I think this game is going to be a double-digit win. And then also, you said we're going up to 3:30?
Yes. No, 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock, okay.
It's just the 2 and 2:30s is all this is.
Oh, okay. 2 and that's it for that stuff. That's all I got for 2 and 2:30.
How about you, Al?
Well, I'm going to take another home underdog. I'm going to look at Missouri State. They lost by 22 earlier this season in Terre Haute to the Sycamores, and I think the Bears are going to avenge that blowout loss. Take a look at how Missouri Valley Conference teams that lost by 18 or more points to a conference opponent earlier in the season, they've now gone 158 and 110 ATS, provided they weren't favored by more than 4 points in the next meeting. Of course, here they're getting 7 or 7.5. So I'll take the home dog plus the points.
Jovan?
Yeah, I'm in the line of fire with that one. It's really just a lean. It's reached a point to me where the line might be a little bit too big, but I'm still gonna ride with the Sycamores. It's just a situation where I've seen a few games from Missouri State, and I don't like what I see against the better teams at home. They've gotten rocked in a couple games at home. So, and you're facing the Indiana State team that when they're hot, that three's falling, it's an onslaught. So, I was looking at Missouri State at first, because they do win it. They have won at Missouri State against Indiana State, but just the way that Indiana State's playing this year, they going in and win by a good 12 to 15 points, no sweat.
Brian?
Yeah, maybe I'm getting suckered into this one, but I'll take Iowa State, lay the big points against TCU. TCU off a home loss to Texas. Iowa State's covered 7 of the last 9 versus TCU, and they met earlier this year. I think it was a 1 or 2 point win for Iowa State. I don't think this game's as close. I think a 10-point win for the Cyclones.
I don't think that was in this slot, but anyways, Tony?
Yeah. We said 2 o'clock, right? 2 o'clock.
Yeah, it was. I think it was.
No, we're up to 2:30.
Oh, to 2. Oh, okay. Up from 2 to 2. Okay, that'd be 11 a.m. Pacific. All right, then I will be at Michigan State here, laying the 3. Strength on the Spartans' home court, and also the Illinois defense has kind of tapered off over their past 5 games, give up over 46% shooting. Like Michigan State here, laying the number.
We got well, I didn't get mine. I like Campbell in this one, home dog against Stony Brook. To me, I don't even understand why Stony Brook is favored in this one. Campbell's 11-13 and Stony Brook is 13-11. But Campbell's the way better team here. I mean, this just doesn't even make any sense at all to me. Both sides of the ball, 300th in guarding the 3 for Stony Brook. Campbell certainly doesn't light it up from out there, but I don't like teams like that at all. Also, I don't like the way that Stony Brook shoots free throws. I think Campbell's better there. So when you're getting points with the home team, you always want to make sure that they're the better free throw shooting team, because that's what's going to make the difference in the cover. Man, because at this time of year, these lines are tight. So, man, you got a team that bricks free throws, stay the hell away, man. It'll ruin your life in college hoops. It's like, I mean, it always seems like it's, it's something that not a lot of people take into consideration, but really the free throw shooting when at this time of year, after the books have the lines dialed in, it is the difference between covering and not covering. So you always want, if you're taking the dog, the home dog, all that stuff, you want to make sure they're the better team at the free throw shooting, at least for me. Everybody has their own style. Some people, they don't give a crap. Anyways, we got Texas, West Virginia. We got Rice against USF. Arlington versus Stephen F. Longwood versus Winthrop. Jacksonville, Northern Alabama. South Carolina State, Chicago State. West Carolina versus Mercer. Merrimack versus Lemoyne. Air Force versus Fresno. Arkansas State versus Ohio. Boy, that's Sunbelt Mac is just a little much. Georgia Southern versus Buffalo. Oof, that is the stench fest of that matchup right there. ULM versus Eastern Michigan. South Alabama versus Northern Illinois. Charleston versus Drexel. As we head back to the Colonial. Florida versus Auburn. Moorhead versus Eastern Illinois. Arkansas Pine Bluff versus Arkansas Pine Bluff. I lost somebody when I did that. Jovan. There we go. So I think Jay is here. Arkansas Pine Bluff versus Alcorn State. Now we lost them. Valpo versus Belmont. So up until between 3 and 4. 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. 3 o'clock and 3:30 Eastern time games. Tony, why don't you start us off?
All right, we'll start it off here. We'll look here at the Florida team here, getting plus 1.5 here against this Auburn squad. Looking at this game here, the Gators, their rebounding strength on the offensive defensive glass is strong. I like their 3-point defense here in this spot. They had one at 4 straight until they dropped that one at 8 a.m. by 1. I just like the form they're in. I'll take Florida in this spot.
Yeah, for me in this time slot, I'm going to go with Jay's Texas Longhorns laying the big points. They lost earlier this season to West Virginia. I think Texas off a loss. This is a huge number. West Virginia hasn't covered a game on the road this season. I think Texas gets it done.
A little revenge. Jovan.
I'm looking at Murray State, and I want to take them. It's a lot of points, in first inspection, but and Evansville, they ran off 4 straight wins, 5 straight covers. But I think with them being on the road, facing the Racers, I think this is going to be one of those games where they don't look so tough. I think it's going to be a double-digit victory for Murray State.
How about you, Al?
Oh, I'm going to take the Houston Cougars, lay the points at Cincinnati. Houston off a point spread loss. They're now.
Not in this slot, but that's okay.
I know. I don't like anything in the 3 o'clock or 3.
Well, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. You really you got that Buffalo versus Georgia Southern game.
Hey, speak for yourself. Speak for yourselves.
That Buffalo Georgia Southern game looks pretty good.
Yeah,
it's for the fans. That one's just for the fans.
Yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna take Houston. Failing to cover the spread their last time out versus Oklahoma State. They won by 16, laying 20.5, but I think they get back in the win column today, ATS, and I'll lay the points at Cincinnati.
All right. Well, so Al likes Georgia Southern Buffalo as a fan, but not as a bettor. Costi.
It's okay. You don't have to be both. I like Arkansas State here. I think playing decent of late, but great at home. I think it's a good upset because Ohio's been playing a much better ball lately, but I just don't trust Ohio on the road, and they don't cover. They've only won 2 games on the road, and they don't cover. I think it's an easy, soft number. You're talking about a better team on the road, and Arkansas State is favored. So I'm not overthinking that one, taking Arkansas State, laying the points. And then the other game, the game I gave out in my video, College of Charleston, at home, laying the 5.5. The line is actually steamed up than when I gave it out originally. Great team, been covering almost every game at home. Meanwhile, Drexel, 3 of their last 4 losses, even though they're 7-3 overall in their last 10, 3 of their last 4 losses have come on the road, and they didn't cover. So I like College of Charleston laying the 5.5 at home.
I'm going to give out a free premium for the fans. I got Western Carolina against Mercer. Mercer just sucks at everything, man. They shoot 65% from the free throw line. You ain't going to win on the road. I don't care what you are, man, how many you're getting. You shoot 65% from the free throw line. It ain't going to happen because you're not even going to get that many chances from there because the home team's going to get all the calls. If you look at Western Carolina, they dominate every statistical category on the board in this game, both offensively and defensively, and on every rebounding category as well. This game should be 20 to 25 points. I'm going to take Western Carolina. I think it could be the biggest mismatch on the entire board today. I think the one that I said that the other day, I think everybody cashed huge on it. I got a lot of comments. I can't remember what it was. But I gave one out I think on our show, Costi, I gave one out and I like that. And everybody cashed. Can't remember which one it was. It was one of those games. It was total slaughter. Anyways, a lot of these ones in the SoCon and Colonial, if you could find that mismatch, man, these things get way, way ugly. Way, way ugly. This is the conference where they cover the 20s, you know?
Yeah, softer markets always get that.
Yep.
Lines aren't as sharp.
Yep. That one's about as easy as it gets. I would say bet the farm. Got
own a farm.
Well, pawn the Rolex.
Whoa. I could sell this thing on eBay for a lot right now.
What thing? Their chair?
Sweatshirt. The sweatshirt.
Oh. It's worth a
lot of
money.
demands. A lot of demands on this side.
It's worth a lot of
Love
money.
the hoodies.
Got NKU versus Detroit, UTSA versus East Carolina, South Dakota State, Oral Roberts, Miami versus North Carolina, Wake versus NC State, Maryland, Eastern Shore, no line on that one. Murray State, Evansville, Texas Tech, UCF, NJIT versus UMass Lowell. Got FAMU versus Texas Southern, Delaware versus William and Mary. We've got, it might have been Lowell that I gave out the other night on the show.
That sounds right. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Lowell against UMBC. It was
Right.
7.5. They won by 13. but it was like that was as close as the game ever was. The final score.
That's where my wife graduated college from, UMBC.
Well, we faded the shit out of them.
Yeah,
anyways,
good for social work, not good for basketball.
Faded the shit out of the Retrievers.
Hey, the Golden Retrievers. Okay, Goldens.
We got Delaware versus William and Mary, Cincinnati, Houston. We know where Al McMorty stands on that one. Northwestern State versus Southeastern Louisiana. Mount St. Mary's versus Quinnipiac. Bethune-Cookman versus Prairie View A&M without Romanelli here. Utah Valley versus Abilene Christian. Northern Colorado versus Montana. You want a team that's going to rip your guts out, man. Bet a couple Montana games. Got Ohio State against Maryland. I mean, they ruined my life and crushed my dreams. Montana. They have many times over. Northern Arizona versus Montana State. Cal State Bakersfield versus Fullerton. We got SFU versus Stonehill. South Carolina Upstate versus Cashville. Greensboro versus Chattanooga. 4:00 is the place to be. Kentucky versus Gonzaga. Presbyterian, the Blue Hose. 1-ho, 2-ho, Red Ho, Blue Ho versus Radford. Houston Christian versus Incarnate Word up. Lindenwood versus Tennessee Tech. Troy versus Kent State. Southeast Missouri State versus Tennessee State. And Stetson versus EKU. Costi, tell us how it is.
Yep, first one, plain and simple. Ohio State, Maryland is just dog shit on the road. Ohio State, both 13-10. They're laying a small number at home. It's not going to matter. I don't trust Maryland at all.
I'll tell you who I don't trust is Ohio State, man. They got the worst coach in the whole country. They're going to fire him on the court today. He is the worst coach in the whole country. He's worse. Like tomorrow we'll see Kyle Shanahan. This guy's worse. This guy's worse than that.
They don't really fire coaches in the middle of college basketball seasons that often.
But it happens. It's already happened this season.
It's not that often. I don't think it's going to happen
college
today.
Coaches in general don't get fired mid-season, except for this guy is fully capable of it happening. He's a disaster.
Well, I'm just happy he's not playing and shooting the ball, so I think I'll be okay.
Well, his team hasn't been doing that either. They've lost, I think, 5 in a row, and maybe are headed for number 6. They're going to get housed.
No, they've only won 2 games out of their last 10.
They're going to get slaughtered.
I think the opposite. Maryland stinks on the road. I'm not buying into it.
Ohio State stinks everywhere, man.
And
they stink. Chris Holtmann is the worst coach. He's the worst coach there is. Ohio State has a knack of finding the worst coaches. Tad Matta into Holtmann. It's like, how bad can you possibly be at this? They got about a war chest of money to work with.
With the other 4:00 game, I like Kentucky laying the points. I watched the Gonzaga game. Their record it's over. The record doesn't really value the type of teams that they play. So their record looks pretty. I saw how they played against St. Mary's. They couldn't play a lick of defense. Kentucky is big. They are going to beat those guys up. They don't have that guy like Gonzaga has had literally for the last decade. That point forward, that just is crafty around the rim, also is good defensively. I mean, they just don't have that guy anymore. And it was embarrassing watching that game against St. Mary's. St. Mary's won the game and they kept it relatively close, but throughout the game. But Gonzaga was clearly the worst team on the court that day. I think Kentucky blows the doors off of them today. Lay the 5.5, won't matter. Easy cover.
It's coming down.
Al?
Sorry, I thought it was Tony's turn. I'll take a couple teams. I like North Carolina to bounce back off its loss. Carolina's 102-68-5 ATS when laying 3 more points off a straight up loss. The other play I like is on the added board. I like the Skyhawks against the Red Flash. Stonehill plus the 2.5 at St. Francis. falls into a couple systems of mine. One is 200 and 119 ATS. The other is 102 and 44 ATS. Basically plays on teams that are dog shit, and I'll take the Skyhawks.
Jovan?
Yeah, I'm gonna take UMass Lowell against NJIT. NJIT coming off that surprising, that shocking win against Vermont. Can they do it twice in 1 week? I don't think so.
No chance.
I don't think so, and I think it's gonna be a blowout. So I'm gonna roll with UMass Lowell in that one. And there was another one I was looking at. Just where the hell did it go? I'm gonna roll with Mount St. Mary's. That's not the one though. Mount St. Mary's against Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac has been, winning and covering a little bit too much. They're on the road. I just like the spot for the slight home dog. Funny line in that one. Damn, I don't know where it went. And I'll give out Radford as well.
Ryan?
Well, I don't want to break the rules. I don't want to get in trouble for this, but I'm going to backtrack because I missed it and take the Florida Gators plus the points against Auburn. Auburn off that big win against hated Alabama. Florida off a loss. Only thing worries me about the Gators is they only shoot 68% from the free throw line. That could come into play late. Florida's own Auburn.
Terrible, man. They're one of the worst teams in the country. They're going to get
I think
slaughtered.
Florida is one of the big disappointments this year, even though the record isn't that
They're
bad.
going to get crushed. They're going to get crushed.
I think this is a major bait line here. I mean, it opened up at 1.5 Auburn. I think it's at 2.5 now. I think the Gators get it done and upset Auburn. Romanelli's Gators get it done today. And in the other game, I like Kentucky.
Every step up game,
Kentucky over
except
Gonzaga.
for Kentucky, the one Kentucky game, the one on the road, they have gotten their ass kicked every single time.
I know you like the Gators, but I think this is a good spot for
No, it's like the thing about I like whoever makes me money, and betting against the Gators has just been a cash cow this season because they have not stepped it up to the plate in the big games, except for one game this season, and it took them time in Kentucky. Outside of that game, and they had to score 1 million points to do it. Outside of that game, every step-up game, they've gotten stepped on. Every single one. And it's like, including the game that they were 3.5-point home favorites against Kentucky, which I'm personally insulted by. How in the hell are they 3.5-point favorites over anybody? They are straight.
I thought that was going to be
I
an
also
easy
like
win for
Miami
Florida,
against
and they
North
didn't get it
Carolina,
done.
man. I disagree with Al on that one. This is Jim Larinaga. You look at his resume; he beats Carolina every freaking year in Miami. It's like this is why he's a Hall of Fame coach, because they beat Miami and Duke every single year in Miami. It's like they never lose this game. This is money line, overlay, lay 10. It's like this is the one. Miami, the thing about Miami also is they've been injured all season long. This is the first time they've been healthy in a month. Cleveland's been out. Pack has missed extended time, and Woogie Poplar has missed weeks. Now they're winning again because all those guys are back in the lineup. They're 3 best players. Well, Omer is also their top, but he can't do it by himself. He's a 6'7" center. Give the guy a break. Tony, you're up.
All right, I'm going with a lot of the panel picks today. Kentucky here, laying the points. Gonzaga, they again double-digit losses to Purdue, UConn, and San Diego State. I know Purdue and UConn are monsters. That San Diego State loss was bad. 2 conference losses already. And Kentucky overall defense, shooting the ball well, hitting threes. I like Kentucky, and I'm going to piggyback here with Cassia. This Maryland team can't shoot a lick. I know Ohio State has their struggles. This might be one of those get right spots and getting a buy low with Ohio State. So those are 2 I like in this hour at that time.
I'm telling you, it's like Brett Bielema at Arkansas, man. This Holtman at Ohio State. It's just dead man walking. That's all it is, man.
He's not shooting threes today, though. He's
Who?
on the sidelines.
Holtman? He doesn't. Yeah, but look at his track record, man.
They've lost a lot of games.
He's never made it past the first round of the NCAA tournament. He's got a fucking $80 million athletic budget. It's like, if you can't get past the first round of the NCAA tournament and you're Ohio State, you suck. I mean, seriously, man, you're terrible. St. Peter's makes it to the Elite 8 once in a while, man. It's like, you're horseshit is what you are. He is a joke. He is a horrible, horrible, horrible person as a coach.
Well, our fans watching the show today, I'm not sure they care about Ohio State's exit in the first round. They want to cash that ticket today.
Not going to happen. Bet Maryland and bet them big and early and often money line. It is lock.
Whoa, that's it.
I have to agree with Mitch.
Whoa,
I like Maryland in this spot.
It is lock.
Throw the key out, lock.
It is a Ohio State's lost 5 in a row, man. Take your plus 120 on the Terps. Why do you think the money line is so? Ohio State's home. They're only laying 2 points against shit-ass Maryland. Maryland has gone into much tougher spots than this year and have won. Maryland wins in the tough road spots. It's the home games against, Loyola Maryland they don't win. It's like these are the games they do win. Look at the resume. Look at the track record. We'll talk tomorrow. We'll talk after. I'll talk to you after the game. I'll be sending you some screenshots. Will Maryland beat Ohio State?
Oh God. That thing's never right.
Cannot predict now.
I think that thing's 0 for 10. I've been shouting. I have a sheet here. So
this thing, the Magic 8-Ball's been around forever. Forever, man.
Back when
I could get Brian
doing the shows by yourself, Mitch, right?
Why don't you get the lucky penny out?
This one.
Get the lucky penny
Lucky
out.
penny.
Yeah, that's what I am.
I
got the lucky penny.
Bullshit.
And Brian hates the lucky penny. Maryland.
we got to do something for Mitch, like the Groundhog's Day, where like he sees his shadow. It's an early spring. We got to do something for Mitch like that, where like turns around, doesn't see his shadow, and all right, it's an early season, early exit by Miami.
That's every year for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, it's every year.
Yeah, right. Last year they made it to the Final Four. The last year
I forgot about
was
that.
the Elite Eight. They made the Elite Eight the year before that. They lost the eventual champion the last 2 years, deep in the tournament. They beat the crap out of Houston last year in the tournament.
They did.
They beat the crap out of them. It wasn't like a lucky shot. It wasn't any of those things. They just dominated and beat the living crap out of them. Like they'll do to Carolina today. Go Kings. Who's up? Everyone go this slot?
Yeah.
I like a little banter. I do it a little differently than Jay does. Jay usually saves his banter for the NBA. Jay likes to give his pick, then come back over the top.
Yeah, he didn't want to come on because he gave it a first round pick for a PJ Washington.
Well, he's here. He's here. I see him. I see him on the screen. He can't get connected. I just don't know
I'm
how
here.
you get.
I'm here. I'm
Who do you
here.
like,
Ohio
Ohio
I'm
State?
working behind the scenes, though. I'm behind. I'm behind, so I'm working behind the scenes. I'm here, though.
Ohio State or Maryland?
Maryland, Ohio
Yeah,
State.
see? Jay's been on the show long enough to know that.
I guess your team that thinks they grow first round picks on trees, huh?
Hey, man. We'll see. I didn't like it, Tony T. We'll see how it does. I don't like it, but
very inconsistent player. Very inconsistent.
We'll see.
I mean, Maryland won at Iowa. They lost by 3 at Northwestern. They beat Illinois on the road. I mean, they're a road warrior, man. They won at Pauley Pavilion against UCLA. They're road warriors, man. Meanwhile, Ohio State, home loss to Indiana, home loss to Illinois. They beat Penn State. Congratulations, man. Home loss. Wisconsin by 11. Michigan loss at Michigan. You stink. You lose to Michigan, I got news for you. You stink. Michigan's the worst, man. Terrible this year. Even Michigan fans will tell you that. All right. Other than that, I don't really have an opinion on the game. Got McNeese State versus Texas A&M. A&M Corpus Christi, Loyola Maryland Colgate, Lipscomb Kennesaw State. It's not really a state. Jacksonville State versus Western Kentucky. Utah Tech, the Eggs, taking on Cal Baptist. Denver versus St. Thomas. Oregon versus Washington State. Grambling versus Alabama State. Texas State versus Ball State. Austin Peay versus Queens. Cal versus UCLA. East Tennessee versus Furman. Seattle versus Tarleton State. Marquette versus St. John's. Arkansas versus Georgia. Kansas Baylor. Notre Dame VT. Princeton Penn. Bradley Drake. James Madison Akron. We'll go through, it's 5 o'clock games through the 6 o'clock games. Jay, you got any games for us?
Come back to me.
All right, Costi.
Yep.
Don't say Ohio State either.
I don't look. We're talking about games. I have selected like 12 games. Certain games I'll bet. I didn't think that one was going to get thrown under the bus. I thought it was just going to be a quick drive-through. No pun intended, Tony. And so okay. I like Oregon in this one. Laying the points at home. It's just, I think they're a better team overall.
I think me and Costi are just on the opposite side of every single game.
I like the Cougars today. I think the Cougars knock off Oregon today.
Love Washington State.
I can't believe I'm agreeing with Mitch.
I take Oregon at home all the time, man.
You know,
because these are the type of game. This is the type of day that it is.
It's contrarian.
It's that type of day.
Everybody's going to ride Washington State because they're the hotter team.
No, everybody bets Oregon at home on every single game, man. They bet the crap out of Oregon at home on every single game. They got that weird court. It's got that shadow. It looks like the lights are off. It's like Washington State is good, man. This is the best This is the best Washington State team they've had since Klay Thompson.
Yeah. Right. I agree. They're very good, but I think Oregon is just that much better at home. And anytime I can get a good home team like that with under 3, key number of 3 in the NBA, a lot of times I lean that way, especially, I know Al doesn't want to hear it, on Saturdays. And then I like Baylor getting the points on the road. Kansas has not blown anybody out at home this year. I know they're undefeated at home, but they're not blowing teams out. This is a very good Baylor team. They're playing really good of late, 7-3 overall. I think the line should be 4.5, 5. I can't believe it's 7.5. I think it's a steal. I wouldn't be surprised if some of this cast would even have Baylor as a money line play. But I like Baylor getting 7.5. I think it's a ton of points. I'd rather have them in my back pocket. That's it for me here.
Right.
Well, yeah, I hate to disagree with my good buddy Costi here, but I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I like the Washington State Cougars here. I think just seeing this line seems light to bet on Oregon at home. Washington State looking for revenge. They lost on their home court to this Oregon team. I think they bring it. And then I think Kansas, I think this line's high for a reason. Baylor, not as good as they've been in years past. And I think Kansas wins this one by double digits, bounces back off that Kansas State loss that they took. So I'll take Kansas.
Tony, any thoughts on the Washington State game?
I like Oregon in that game.
This is why we don't invite you usually on the weekend.
I know.
I love it. I love it, Tony. Keep coming back.
Yep. I got to ride this UCLA Bruin team. Cal is a cold shooting team right now, and I like the Bruins in this spot. Also going to piggyback with Baylor. And also the school that's closest to me is Cal Baptist. This Utah Tech can't shoot a lick. I like those games.
What do you think about the coaching job at Cal? Like, do you think he's done a decent job there? He's a Stanford guy, comes over, right? It's like, or do you think he's sabotaging them?
No, because he was in line for the Stanford job, but they kept the coach there, right? That was the big rumor. Then he had that big choke job in the WAC. Was it the WAC final where they blew that 20-point second-half lead?
We know he's the worst dancer in the room. We know he's the worst dancer in the room.
Oh, yes.
That Lakers celebration dance will go down forever, man.
This kid, yep. He had the biggest choke in the conference tournaments last year. I think, and it was either semis or the finals. It might have been the finals. It was one of those late games. Ugh.
Am I up?
Big out.
Yeah, I'm going to take Queens. The Royals plus the points. Should see it at +2.5, +3 against Austin P. It goes at 5:15 Eastern.
Big Al going big game hunting there. Jovan.
Are we at the 7 o'clock games?
Not yet. Did
All right.
5
5 and
to
6.
6 inclusive.
Yeah, I'm gonna, and I shouldn't do it, but I'm gonna give Arkansas one more shot. You know, it's really no reason to, but Georgia's been playing well, but I just think that Musselman's guys come alive in this one, being at home, short line. Not much to it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Nothing wrong with fading bad coaches at this time of year with in mid-February through March. Mike White is one of the worst. He's up there with Holtman. I mean, these guys are just I don't even understand how they get these jobs. Mike White was fired at Florida and then they hire him at Georgia. He stinks, man. He's terrible. He's personally responsible for that non-cover against Mississippi State or Alabama. The Alabama non-cover. That was ridiculous, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. He can recruit. He just cannot coach. Jay, you got any picks for us? You jam sessioning it over there.
Yeah, I got y'all, man. Y'all know where I'm at. Zip. I'm on them zips against James Madison. Low key, we're gonna go money line.
It's Sunbelt versus MAC. I mean, this is the monster games this weekend.
I love James Madison. I do. James Madison has been a cover machine for me this year. The record is what it is, and the line. I agree, it's worth that for a reason. But zip. The Zips, man, these boys is balling. And like I said, I think they have a legitimate shot to go in there and beat James Madison outright. At that plus money price, I got to take the shot. I like Baylor. I think Kansas is a little overvalued now at home because of how they smashed Houston. I think Kansas is the better team. I agree with somebody said this is not the same Baylor's team as it has been in years past. I completely agree with that. But I think everybody now knows that, and that line is indicative of that. I think it's just too many points. Kansas is the better team. Kansas wins the game. I think they probably win it by like 4. And give me Georgia. Give me Georgia. Arkansas, I'm so done with Arkansas. Georgia, they're not a good team either, but at least I'm getting points in my back pocket. They have a legitimate shot to win that game outright and avoid a 5-game losing streak. I'm going to try to take a plus money shot there with the Bulldogs as well. 3 I like in that slot.
I'm taking St. John's plus the points against Marquette. It's way too late in the season to be giving that many points to Rick Pitino. I don't care. Shaka Smart versus Rick Pitino. This is going to be a coaching chess match war. And St. John's has lost a lot of these really, really close games this season. And I think this is just another one of these close games that they lose. Next year, they'll win those games. But this year, they lost all of them. It came down to these 1-point games. I think this is just another one of those. I'm taking St. John's. I'm not giving 7.5 points to Rick Pitino on February 10th. That's for damn sure. That ain't going to happen. Not on my watch. I also like Arkansas in spite alone. I hate Mike White. And that pick is dedicated to Ron Romanelli. he hates Mike White so much. It's like ex-Gator coach. I'm kind of with you guys. I'm kind of with Jay as well on Baylor. I just think it's a lot of points. Kansas wins a lot of games, especially at home. They don't cover a ton of games at home, so it's kind of like Texas Tech. They win all the time at home. They don't cover it all the time. So I just think it's a lot of points to be giving a Baylor team that is are they the best 3-point shooting team in the nation? If they're not, they're second or third, right? I mean, the game that they lost against TCU, they could or Kansas State, they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. They shot like 40% from the free throw line or less. but they shoot 40.3% from beyond the arc. They're the third best 3-point shooting team in the nation. They shoot 49.2% from the floor. That'll keep you in it. And they also shoot 72.7% from the line. Kansas, of course, 73.6% from the line, 86th best 3-point shooting team. This is going to be a close game. It's going to be a very, very close game. I think a lot of people looking at that Houston game, but I don't think they're going to open up with a 15-0 run like they did last week. Anyways, Nebraska taking on Michigan. Southern versus Alabama A&M. Normally those are Monday games right there. Got Louisville versus Georgia Tech. Oklahoma State. Bedlam. This could be the last meeting, right? Of these guys. Maybe they'll play out of conference. Long Beach State. What up, Beaches? Cal Poly. Ryder versus Marist. Mississippi Valley State. Jay's team up against Jackson State. Wofford versus Citadel. Oregon State, Washington, Manhattan versus Siena. Siena, I don't know, man. Normally they fire like after January. Not this year. They stink. Florida Gulf Coast. yeah, you can see Tony holding his nose on that one. It's like Siena is bad. Terrible.
We have a lot of experience back in the day in those Friday Metro Atlantic. They were just that was the schedule back in the day.
So like Al McMorty does mostly by the numbers, and he has like a formula that he works with these teams. So he doesn't get to, tune in. He's like, and I'm a game watcher, so I have to tune into ESPN Plus and watch this garbage. It's like, it is tough to watch, man. It's like
Al knows there's one team out there. I can't do it with my fingers. I'm bad with doing the finger stuff, but it starts with a P that we just don't like.
Does it end with a C?
It ends with a C. It starts with a P.
Pacific?
Yes.
Pacific, yeah, horrible.
There are worse teams.
No, Portland too. I mean, same conference.
Funny with this.
Well, Portland's not much.
But that's an upside down conference because usually the top seeds always lose to the Metro Atlantic Conference, and teams like Siena are the ones that end up in the finals.
The only thing that I respect about Portland is they didn't fire Terry Porter in the final year of his contract. They made him sit on the sideline and watch that same garbage the rest of us had to watch. It was so bad, man. It was like Portland. It's like Terry Porter is probably the worst coach like ever. And it's like Portland was so bad. It was like, are they going to fire Terry Porter? Nah, they'll just let him sit right in there front and center and watch the garbage that he puts out on the floor every night. I mean, it's terrible. It's like, it's unfair, man. It was like, I'll stay up and, I got some on the Portland games. I'll stay up and watch. It was like, it really was not worth it. Wright State versus Oakland. You got New Hampshire versus Maine, regional rivalry there. Lehigh versus Lafayette, another rivalry. Southern Illinois, the Salukis up against Illinois State. Eastern Washington versus Idaho. Texas A&M, Tennessee. Liberty La Tech. Florida State, Virginia. Idaho State, Portland State. New Mexico versus UNLV. Riverside versus Irvine. Grand Canyon versus Southern Utah. Long Island versus Sacred Heart. Utah versus Arizona State. Purdue, Indiana, the rematch. And here's the... Here, all right, we'll stop there. Jay, you up for it, or are we going to come back?
Hey, I'm on Oklahoma today. It's one of my favorite games today. Oklahoma's going to beat the brakes off of Oklahoma State in the last Bedlam game. Oklahoma, they've been free-falling. They haven't been quite the team they were to start the year, and they might not be the team I think they are.
Actually, it might not be the last Bedlam. There might be another game.
Okay. I think there was a stretch this season where I thought Oklahoma might be able to win the whole Big 12. I no longer think that. I think the team that wins the Big 12 is Iowa State, but I think Oklahoma's still a very dangerous team, and this line is this big for a reason. I think Oklahoma State's the worst team in the Big 12, and I think there's just a clear gap of separation here. No better get-right spot than to smash down on your in-state rival, who they're head and shoulders better than. I'm taking Oklahoma in this one.
Costi?
I like 3 games in this slot. All over Tennessee, playing very good ball.
We are opposite, man. We are just opposite today.
It's just, it means it's going to be a great day for me.
I don't know.
Tennessee.
Saturdays have been absolutely mopping the floor. Go ahead.
Tennessee. Oh, what about the next? Virginia. You opposite there?
Nope.
And last one, Utah.
Neither here nor there.
No. Tennessee's going to beat the brakes off of Texas A&M.
I disagree.
I strongly disagree.
We'll see. Texas
A&M
Texas
A&M has come up with a really, really good strategy, and in the games that they win, it really works. And against Tennessee is the type of team that it really sets up well against. And what they do is every time they take a shot, they don't shoot at a high percentage. They crash 4 to the boards. So it's like they get a ton of offensive rebounds and a lot of second chance. That's how they beat Kentucky. The problem is if they don't get the rebound, it's a run out dunk on the other side. So like Kentucky, had a bunch of them on them, but they were able to get them. But a team like Tennessee really isn't that type of team. They're not the run and gun. So I don't think it's gonna matter. I think they'll beat them up. But anyways, that's just me. I've been wrong before, but it was a long time ago.
Last night.
Yeah, yesterday. Oh, we only look forward, man. We don't look back.
Yeah.
I can't win any money on yesterday.
That's right. We don't talk about the games. We just say yesterday was, somebody disagreed with us on the Kings. I don't know. I'm not going to say what he was. Oh, I thought you put your do not bet sheet on that. That's what I thought you were pulling up.
That's pretty much the way that I see it. Brian, what do you think?
On this time slot here, I'm going to go with Nebraska, lay the 9.5. Michigan's owned Nebraska over recent history. 9 out of 10 Michigan's won straight up. So this is a chance for Nebraska to pay Michigan back for years of torment here. Michigan got a win. So what? They still stink. I'll lay the points. Louisville, one of the worst teams. They've been playing a little bit better. They're off a loss, but it was a close loss. I think this line looks a little bit odd. A 7-16 team favored over Georgia Tech. I'll take Louisville on the money line.
Tony?
Yeah, I like Wright State. Wright State has played 14 games against the Horizon Conference this year, and they're shooting 55.5%. That's home and road combined. That's amazing. 56% at home this year. Oakland can't shoot at that pace, and their defense has struggled over the past 5 games. I like Wright State laying the points, and also give me the home dog here with Oregon State. Washington's not in very good defensive form right now.
They're not very playing good basketball at all. Al?
Oh, great minds think alike. I'm going to join my good friend Brian. I'm going to take Nebraska as well against my alma mater, Michigan. Nebraska comes into this game off back-to-back road losses at Illinois and at Northwestern, but they're 40-16 ATS at home in conference games off back-to-back losses, provided they weren't getting 4 or more points here. Of course, they're a huge favorite, so I'll lay the points with Nebraska. I'm also going to join Jay with Oklahoma. It's a revenge game for the Sooners. They lost all 3 meetings to Oklahoma State last year. The revenge-minded team in this rivalry has gone 45-24 in 1 ATS, including 7 in 1 ATS when favored by 7 or more points. So I'll lay the points with the Sooners.
Yeah. Thankfully, it's not like 2006, which was one of my worst years of college sports in recorded history. Not because of my record or anything, but because Florida won the college football national championship and the college basketball national championship in the same year, man. It was misery.
Rough.
Yeah, then they won the championship again the next year in hoops, and they went back to backs. Billy Donovan. Oh man. But they did. They won the football and the basketball in the same year. Jay probably was 6 at the time and doesn't remember that painful experience that left a mark on my life. Jay, did you know that Florida did that to me?
No.
Yeah, they won the football and basketball national championship the same year. Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, it was bad. It was bad year, man. That's the year you want to just stop watching sport. That's how he became involved in reality television. Jovan?
Yeah, I'm gonna look towards this Virginia FSU under. Whenever these two teams face each other, more times than not, it's going to be a rock fight. I think it's going to be a rock fight, and this one stays out of the total. It's a funny line. I would lean Virginia, but I would stay away. I'm not going to bet that one. And I agree with Nebraska. At home, they're just a whole different animal. It looks like a steep line, but it's really not. I expect double-digit victory out of the Cornhuskers.
I like Texas A&M against Tennessee. I mean, the Texas A&M stats are the most deceiving stats of any team out there. Because if you look at this, you say, oh, they shoot 39.5% from the floor, right? And it's terrible, 352nd in the nation. But they also average 40 rebounds a game, man. So it's like they get 3 shots every time down the court. So actually, for trips down the court, they convert like 60+%. So it's like they're going to beat Tennessee today outright at home. I like them on the money line on that one. I also like UNLV against New Mexico. I think they go in the pit and win that one outright as well as an 11.5-point dog. I think this is the games that Nevada that UNLV has won this year. These are the ones that they win. It's like the home game against Air Force or something. That ain't gonna work.
That never works for them.
No, they lost at home to Air Force 90-58. They got absolutely crushed, and I wasn't even looking at it. Meanwhile, they go to Boise and win there. They beat New Mexico in the other home game. They lost at San Diego State. I just think another coach that's absolutely terrible. This guy, he's a legacy also. Like these are 2 legacy coaches. This is the coach of Lon Kruger's son, Billy Kruger is the coach of UNLV. So you got the 2 legacy coaches, basically 2 guys that never really had to earn these jobs, right? Richard Pitino and Billy Kruger. I know Kruger is horrible and Pitino's hideous too. Both these guys are just straight ass. I'm going to take the 11.5 points. I'm going to take UNLV. I think they win it outright though. I do. This is the type of game that they win. Oh, Billy Kruger sucks.
Those Texas A&M stats that you're reading off, it's just like the old school SEC.
Yeah, it is like the old school SEC. They're bruisers. Tennessee, they've been a little bit higher scoring than they have been in the past because they knew that their scoring was their problem, why they didn't get anywhere. Ziegler's great. I mean, I like Tennessee. I just don't like this spot at College Station, February 10th. Bad day, man. It's a bad day at the office. That's what college hoops is, man. It'll rip your heart out. Tap dance on your dreams. I know more people that quit betting over college hoops than any other sport. The meaningless 3. Got Portland taking on St. Mary. Oh, my God. What's the line on that thing? It's only 18.5 in Portland, St. Mary's. I can't believe I missed that one. Missouri, Mississippi State. Got Southern Indiana, the Screaming Eagles versus SIU, Edwardsville. Weber State versus Sac State. People finally figured out Weber State is pretty good. Now they're laying 14 a game. UTEP against New Mexico State. Loyola Marymount versus Pepperdine. BYU against Kansas. Big line, man. Pacific, there's your team, Costi, up against San Diego. Stanford, USC. Got Colorado versus Arizona. San Francisco, Santa Clara. UCSB versus Cal State Northridge. Utah State versus Boise State. And Hawaii versus Davis. Rounding out the night. Jovan?
Sheesh. I look to BYU at home. This big number. As much as I would like to take the Wildcats on the road, going up against a highly potent offense like BYU, I think it might get ugly. So, give me the Cougars. That's about it for this time slot. Oh, and I don't know. That Utah State Boise State game. Utah State won the first matchup. At Boise. I would like to say that Boise, could get some get back in this one. So I would lean there, but I'm not confident in that one.
This is a tough game. Al?
Oh, I'm going to go out to Boulder and take Colorado against Arizona. They were demolished by the Wildcats in Tucson earlier this season. They lost 97-50. But teams playing with revenge from a 40-point or worse defeat earlier in the season, they've gone 104 and 81 ATS. Good enough for me. I'll take Colorado minus points.
Tony, any idea why Chip Kelly would take a $4 million pay cut and lose his head coaching title to take that job?
Because he is not a salesman. He's a coach, and he cannot get NIL money and can't recruit money into the program. That's the reason why. And he's not well liked. He doesn't carry himself in the manner that you need to try to get money from the boosters. And that's the real problem there with Chip Kelly. He's a football coach. He's not adapting to this change, and he was looking for an NFL job, right? Because you don't have to recruit players; you just have to coach them. He didn't get the NFL job, so he went to Ohio State there. But you remember he was almost forced out last year. He needed to beat USC. He got the USC win. Then they lose to Cal, and there were a lot of doubters there. And he was on a real short leash this year. I think he felt the heat, but more importantly, he's just not adapting to the change in college football. We saw that with the BC coach. I think you're going to see that with some of these coaches. They're just not adaptable at all to what's going on right now.
Well, who's slot? You're up. It's you. We can come back if you want. Brian?
All right, I'm ready to go here. I agree with Jovan here. I love BYU laying the points. I mean, to me, it looks like they got their tin cup out begging you to bet Kansas State. I mean, they're all that big Kansas win, but BYU off a loss to Oklahoma at home where they're 10-3 against the number. I'll lay it with the Cougs.
On me or Tony?
It is back to Tony.
Yeah, I'm going to take Stanford here, laying the 3. USC is just terrible. 3-9 in conference. The Cardinals Cardinals shoot the ball well at home. Cardinal, believe it or not, tops in effective field goal shooting against the conference. 42% from 3 against the Pac-12, 50% inside. They make their free throws, 77% against the Pac-12. We'll take Stanford in this one.
Costi?
Yeah, I feel like me and Tony are just like we're seeing eye to eye today. I'm on Stanford as well. I will bet against USC the rest of the way. They are garbage. That team is just a free-falling disaster. Disaster. USC on the road, it says, right?
No, football or basketball.
Oh, yeah, football or basketball. Oh, it's Kings road favorite. Right, I saw below.
Yes, Kings is a road favorite.
It's getting real wrinkled. It's hard to see now. It's getting wrinkled. We got to laminate it or something.
Well, we're gonna have to get a new sheet. I think we should just get whiteboards.
Whiteboard?
Yeah, kind of like I have my board over here.
I have a lot of space. I can figure it out. Yeah, Stanford for me.
Or we just get graphics,
Or just the simple route.
Yes.
That's it for me in that spot.
Jay.
I'm out here. If my flight was later, it leaves at like 6 p.m. out here, though. I would definitely, for sure, go to the game. But I'm not. Got the switch. Give me the Buffs. Hashtag, we coming. You know what I mean? Arizona's a good basketball team. I like Arizona. I do. But Colorado's favored here for a reason. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Arizona, they're just – yeah. That's really all I got for you. You know what I mean? There's really no great basketball reason I could give you why I love Colorado today. My
13-0
best
at
argument
home.
is they're favored for a reason at home over a top 10 team in the country. I gotta go with the Colorado Buffs here.
Agree.
I'm going to go with Mississippi State, man. I've been fading Missouri all season. I'm not going to get off of it now. They've only covered twice at home all season. I think Gates is a great coach. They just have no talent on the roster whatsoever. So this one's pretty easy. Mississippi State is one of those bubble teams, and they need this one. Can't afford to go into Missouri and lose if you're on the bubble. And I don't think Mississippi State can afford the loss. I think these are two teams that went last year, got the head coaches that they wanted. I think Gates, they went to Cleveland State, picked up Gates, and Mississippi State went to New Mexico State, grabbed their coach before the roof collapsed there. But I tell you, you could see they play that same style that New Mexico State played. They were a men in the whack for years, man. It's like same style. It works. SEC, it's called play crazy defense, man. Shaka Smart style. Crazy defense. Crazy. All right, we go to the NBA. Early start here in Dallas because they know Jay won't be home yet. They got the Mavericks up against the Thunder Buddies, man. This is a monster game. Boy, Jay would have loved to have been at this one. All his guys are they going to be there on both sides, and the Mavs are home dogs. And oh man, this has got all the boy. Too bad you're in Colorado, Jay.
Oh man,
missed this one.
I know.
It's like there's no football going on. It's like, man, this is a great day to go 3 o'clock afternoon. So you can still got the whole night to watch game. Oh my god, yeah.
I know. I went back and forth on this game all morning. I did. I think this is one of the toughest games of the year. I could make a clear and concise argument going both ways. That's why it's so tough for me. Everybody knows I love the Thunder Buddies, man. They're the second best ATS team in basketball. These boys be hooping. You know what I mean? They're just flat out one of the best teams in the league. When it comes to my Mavs, though, the thing with the Mavs has been health. That's been the problem with the Mavs is health. What have we seen from them recently? Health. We've seen Kyrie, Luka in the lineup, and what did they do on that road trip? They just went bonkers. And because they've been so terrible at home recently, I think they come back and win this basketball game today. I do. I think this is a lock-in emphasis spot for the Mavs, who struggled last time they were at home against really good teams, Phoenix, Boston. They need a great home win, and I think it starts here today. The best player on the floor is Luka Doncic. Short, sweet, simple. He's in that mode right now. I love the Thunder. I really, really do. But you're going to give me Mavs home dog. I'm going to take them.
Anyways, everyone that's watching, I know the website is down. The guys are working on it. Just if you could be patient, I'd appreciate it. I understand it's a pain in the ass. It sucks for all of us. But it will be up shortly. The guys are working on it. And, I know. It's like I don't understand how it goes down at 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning, right? On giant college basketball day either. So, but I do know they are working on it. I'll give you their personal email addresses. That's basically what we'll do. We'll see how they like it. Anyways, Costi, Mavs Thunder.
I got to side with Jay here. It's like toughest game of the year, man. What you've seen out of the Mavs since Kyrie came back, getting points at home against one of the best covering teams in the league. God, it's going to be a good game to watch, but I'm going to take the points in my back pocket. I really like what I've been seeing since Kyrie's been back. This team is red hot, and they're just heating up. They have not even peaked yet. So I'm just going to take the points in this one, but it's really a 50-50 game for me. Really, really is.
Brian?
Yeah, it seems like me and Costi have been always opposites. I kind of would lean to the Thunder here. I would like Dallas more if they were laying points, but getting points, it just seems like to me they're begging you to take Dallas. Oklahoma City's performed all season as far as covering the spread. Dallas just 11-16 at home. I'll take the Thunder buddies. Lay the points.
Tony.
Yeah, I like the under in this game. OKC defends well on the road, and we know Jay was talking about the health of Dallas. What we've seen with Dallas over the past 5 games, they've really slowed the pace down. So I like the under in this one between OKC and Dallas.
Got Al.
Well, one of the reasons why OKC's favored, they last played on Tuesday. Dallas last played Thursday. So OKC has had 2 extra days to rest this season. When an NBA team has played with at least 2 more days of rest than their opponent, they've gone 47-27 ATS, including 11-0 ATS off an upset loss. That's the situation here. I'll lay the 3 points with OKC.
Jovan.
Yeah, it's a tough one, but I'll lean Mavericks just based on recent play. You know, I would actually wait to see this see if this line continues to go the other way, go in favor of the Thunder. I think it will. How much so, I'm not too sure, but I will wait till later in the day to pull the trigger on the Mavs.
Lighting wise, got dark.
I like the Thunder in this one. I like the way the Mavs have been playing, but I don't care. The Thunder are just a better team. It's a light number. So, to me, it just is that easy. We got the Clippers and the Pistons. The Pistons, no Burks anymore to kick around. He's been our guy. It's a hollow feeling with the Pistons now. Jovan, what do you think?
I like the under. Coming off that long road trip, you saw what happened with them against the Pelicans with the Clippers. I think they bear down on defense, for the majority of this game. Detroit has been playing well. They have been covering. That's to be sure. But given this high total and it's going down a couple points, yeah, I like the under.
Al.
I mean, obviously, Detroit's been covering a lot lately, but the Clippers have been covering as well. Detroit coming off back-to-back upset wins at Sacramento and at Portland. I don't like taking bad teams off wins, and especially not off back-to-back wins. Detroit hasn't won 3 games in a row all season. Obviously, they can still lose this game and cover, but I'll lay the points with the Clippers.
Tony.
Yeah, I like the Pistons here plus the 16. I like what I'm seeing from Duran and Ivy. Cunningham's expected to play today. And I do like the acquisition of Fontecchio, the Italian second-year player from Utah. They gave away a couple picks for them to tell you that they really like this Fontecchio. I'll take the Pistons here plus the points.
Yeah, for me in this one, I'll do a slight lean to the under in the Detroit Pistons and Clippers. I don't think the Pistons are going to score and put enough points on the board. I'll take the under.
Costi.
I'm going to take the Clippers here. I think it's a typical spot where everybody's siding toward Detroit because they've been covering, and it's a ton of points. I'm normally not good. I would not lay the points in this spot, but it's a bounce back spot. The Clippers just got embarrassed at home against the Pelicans. This is the type of game they usually bounce back and they win this game by 25, 30 points. I wouldn't not be surprised at all if they just blow the doors off Detroit. Don't love it. Not going to bet it, but I can't take the Pistons in this spot. So Clippers for me.
Mitch.
It's a tough one, man, because I love the Clippers, man. I do
Stop fading the Clippers.
I love the
Stop
Clippers.
fading the
Yeah,
Clippers.
this reminds me of Washington, Boston yesterday.
I love the Clippers.
Stop
Man.
fading the Clippers.
I love the Clippers.
You love you some Clippers.
I love the Clippers. I like the French, my French
I want to
baker.
marry the Clippers.
Like I love the Clippers.
What if it's Clippers Boston? Are we going to the finals if it's Clippers Boston? Seriously, if it's Clippers Boston, we have to go.
At LA,
Yeah,
I would go if it's LA.
LA. Yeah,
We ain't got to worry about that because that ain't happening.
never say never.
Nah, Boston. Boston has zero chance of me. zero chance, man. Zippo.
Who has less of a chance, Boston or the Clippers?
Unless everybody else, unless every other team is in a plane crash and dies. That's the only chance the Celtics have.
Clippers in a finals, better. odds than the
Everybody
Celtics?
knows.
Wow.
Everybody
Clippers
knows
have
I
a
hate
way
the
better
Clippers.
chance of getting there than the Celtics.
Everybody knows I hate the Clippers. I always fade the Clippers. But I agree with Costi, word for word, bar for bar. I'm on the Clippers today. Rare sighting, rare outing, but I'm on the Clippers
Wow,
today.
really bitter about that Burks trade, aren't you? Bitter.
Yeah,
Big
man.
trade-
They
biggest
got rid
trade
of
of the deadline.
they got rid of Bojan and Burks in the same trade.
Burks was carrying the whole team.
I can't rock with the Pistons in this spot. They have been covering, but they're still probably 28 of 30 in teams in the NBA. And the Clippers, it's going to pay me to say they might be 3 of 30 right now. I just think this is a complete mismatch. Bounce back spot at the crib off a bad loss. Pistons, they've been covering, but they also can get their doors blown off, take them out in the woodshed, and I think that's what the Clippers do to them tonight.
Well, you better hope that Coffey, Powell, Plumlee, Westbrook, Daniel Theus, those are the guys that are going to be on the court if it's a blowout.
Three of the guys you named, I could care less about.
This Pistons injury report is concerning too, though. Thompson, game time decision, and then, like you said, Burke's gone. Like, it's going to take a minute for this team to. I'm looking to
It's a lot of
fade.
scoring. It's a lot of
I'm looking
scoring.
to fade a lot of teams that just made trades. Mavs are the only team that I took today that is not in that situation, but it's because they didn't really give up anything that was really on the floor. Grant Williams, yes, but everybody else, I feel like really it shook up their team, and it's going to take a minute. We've seen every team kind of go through a little stretch of getting together, getting right after a trade. I think most of them are going to go through that too, and I could see this being one of those for the Pistons. Taking the Clippers, Mitch?
No, I'm going to take the Pistons. I think they opened the post. I think, it's the post Burke era. I just think it's too many points. Clippers money or Pistons money.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, there you go.
What did you say?
Pistons money line. We got the Nets against the.
Oh, God.
He believes. He believes.
Don't fade
He
the
believes in
Clippers.
Fontecchio. He believes in Fontecchio.
If Jay's on the Clippers, I gotta take the other side, man. I have to.
Hey, I get it.
Jay is 22 and 28 this season against the number. 10 and 14 in games at LA.
Now, just remember, if it's a 20-point game with 5 minutes left, none of these starters are in for the Clippers. So those bench guys I named, those are the guys that are going to have to hold the lead. Like that Washington game.
We're playing that game now.
Speaking of PJ Washington,
high.
he will make his debut tonight for the Mavs. So I was wondering about that. He will play tonight for the Mavs, PJ.
When you trade a first-round pick for him, you better play.
Yeah, I know, Tony. That first round pick kind of haunts me too, but I don't think it would have meant anything. That's the thing, though. If we're supposed to be as good as advertised, have the best player in the world, then that first round pick shouldn't mean anything. It's basically the assumption.
Well, the problem is all your reserves think they're better than they really are, and they want more money, and you can't keep them. That's what happens.
I don't know. I just think the postseason is going to come down to the best players on the planet. And what we've seen the last 10 years is the best players rise to the top, and the best players win it. Seen Giannis do it, seen Curry do it, seen LeBron do it. I think Luka's in that elk. So, seen Jokic do it. We got to get to postseason time. Last time we were in the postseason, we went to the Western Conference Finals. So, we'll see.
Last year you were in February, you were tanking games.
Yeah, we tanked it, though. You're right. We tanked it.
Not intentionally.
Intentionally. Yeah, it was intentional.
I don't think so.
It was intentional.
I don't think so.
They literally had win and make the postseason, and they sat Luka and Kyrie. That's as intentional.
It was
remember that.
pathetic.
It was as intentional as it got.
You can't look at it any other way.
Yeah, it was as
weren't hurt.
intentional as it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were using reverse analytics. They were in the final 5 minutes of games. They were putting guys on paper who could help them lose.
The ends justify the means. They got Derek Lively out of it.
Yep, we did.
Spurs should be doing the same thing.
They have recently. If you ain't been paying attention, they went back to sucking easily. They have.
They just give you a little hope, just to all right, well we can do it. All right, go back to where the money is, which is 2 years from now.
They said, "Oh, we messing up our draft stock. We got to chill."
Nets and Spurs. Jake?
I just talked about them. I'm taking the Nets. I'm fading the Spurs. I think the Spurs have packed it in for the season. There's three teams that have packed it in: San Antonio, Charlotte, and Memphis. Look at that Memphis-Charlotte game today. That is the Memphis.
What about the Raptors, man?
That's yes, but no.
You can't compare San Antonio to Charlotte or Toronto. San Antonio doesn't have injuries and they haven't traded anyone. They just suck. So they haven't packed it in. They're just not any good. There's a difference.
I can compare them to Charlotte and Memphis. I think they're Charlotte, Memphis, and Detroit. They're all in that same boat where they're not trying to win games, is all I'm saying. They're not.
No.
They're not actively trying to win. So if you're not actively trying to win, I'm not actively trying to win.
The Spurs aren't not trying to win. They just don't have the talent on the floor. They play hard.
Yeah, I lean with Al here.
They're not benching.
They're just not good.
Last year,
they are not trying to win games. They are not.
They actually are trying. They're just not any good. They're not tanking, Jay.
No, they are not actively trying to win games. They're not.
I don't know how you can say that.
Because I've seen them for their last 5 get beat by double digits. Like there's stretches in the game where they seem lackadaisical. They seem like they would rather. They can't wait till the game is over.
There's a difference between resting your players, trading your players, and all that stuff, which they did last year, and this year where they just stink.
There's a difference between we're actually out here trying to win, and I can't wait till I get home later today. And the Spurs are, Aaron, I can't wait till I get home later today mode.
Yeah, but I think it's like a top 25 college basketball team playing against a non-conference opponent favored by 16.
These boys are 10 and 42.
They're trying.
If you look at the minutes distribution, Devin Vassell plays 35 minutes. Everybody else 30 minutes or less. So it's tough when your starters can't even are playing 30.
They're not trying to win
20, 22. So they don't go deep. Their starters don't play a lot of minutes.
They're not trying to win basketball games. It's evident.
The backups are just as good as the starters, except Wemby.
I mean, the team is horrible after Wemby. Horrible.
Right. They're all the same. They're just rotating guys.
But
9-man rotation outside of Wemby that they all are equal.
I'm on Brooklyn here. Brooklyn's a falling knife. This is not one of my favorite games tonight, but I think Brooklyn wants to win a couple basketball games down the stretch. I think San Antonio really wants to lose every game moving forward. And I cannot be convinced otherwise. It's my story. I'm sticking to it. I like Brooklyn.
Costi.
Nets for me. Love fading the Spurs. It's 5.5 because the Nets are playing bad ball right now. But I don't think it matters. This is a get-right game for the Nets. They're still trying. Even though the Spurs, I believe, are trying, they're just not any good. 5.5. Anytime you could get Spurs laying only 5.5 at home, I don't care who you are outside of Memphis or Charlotte or even the Wizards, I probably wouldn't be obsessed with. It's an auto bet spot for me.
Yeah, for me this time, for this game, I think I got to go with the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, they might not be good, but they're definitely trying. Nets have been brutal. I mean, I've been a Ben Simmons guy, a Brooklyn Nets guy, but they're just bad. I don't think they should be laying points to anybody. I think the Spurs might beat them outright today, but I'll take the points.
Tony.
I like the over in this game. We have two teams in horrible defensive form right now. And I like the fact that Lonnie Walker is going to play for Brooklyn. He can give them points off the bench. That's extra scoring. I like the over in this one.
Al.
I'll take San Antonio off the 16-point loss to Orlando. Spurs 167 and 120 ATS in the regular season off a loss by more than 10 points. I just, I'd rather take it than lay it in this game.
Jovan.
Yeah, I'm on San Antonio. It's an ugly game between two teams that are on covering spreads, but until Brooklyn could show me that they could consistently. Well, first they got to win, then they got to consistently cover games, and I haven't seen that happen. Every once in a blue moon they might blow somebody out at home, but yeah, a game like this with a Spurs team who I watched their games, and they put a good effort in. Whoever's out there, it's not like they're not getting back on defense, anything like that. They're just a team that can't put the ball in the bucket when they need to, and they get routed. But in this one, I think they put enough effort in to get a cover.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Nets. I just think that I've been against the Nets all season long. So against the Spurs all season long. No reason to change my tune now. So I'm gonna go for the Nets. I'm trying to help people that can't get their picks from the site and that have long-term packages. So if that's the case, hit me up in the chat or send me an email and I'll send you your picks for the early games if you can't access them through the system. That's why I'm kind of distracted here. So got Jake, can you take over? You gonna be here?
Yeah, I'll be here. I got
All right, why don't you take over for me? Absolutely. I'm sorry, everybody.
All right. Next game up. Let's go to the G League game of the day. We got Grizzlies Hornets. We got the Swarm, the Greensboro Swarm versus the Memphis Hustle.
That's good.
I'm not betting this thing. If I were to, it's a lean towards Charlotte. Just for the people that want to lean, I lean Charlotte. But there's so much action out there today. This game is not even on my radar. Costi.
I'm with you, man. I'll take the Swarm getting the points at home.
Big Al.
For all of San Antonio and Detroit and Washington's problems, Charlotte's the worst team in the league. No chance I'm taking them. I'm going to take Memphis.
Javon.
Yeah, better defensive team in Memphis, regardless of who they have on the court. It's real telling that a Memphis team with so many guys out are favorites, on the road. So I'm gonna be laying.
I get it. Brian B.
Brutal game, but I'll go with the Memphis here, laying the points, back-to-back spot for Charlotte, and talk about teams not trying. I think the Hornets are the worst team in the league, and I don't think they're trying. I think Memphis goes in there and covers.
Tony T.
The total opened up in this one 221.5. I'm seeing 216.5. I'm going to go over. These are two teams in horrible defensive form. Just look for the players here. This opportunity to stat pad here, so I'll go over.
Fair enough. Let's keep it rolling. We got the Orlando Magic laying 5.5 on the Chicago Bulls. This line has been steaming up overnight. I think last night it was like 3.5. Now it's 5.5. Tony T, I'll start with you here in this one.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. We always kid with this Magic team about being injured all the time. About 3 games in a row, maybe 4, they have a clean injury report. And when they're clean like this, with this talent and the way the Bulls play defense on the road, I'll lay the points with Orlando.
Brian B.
Probably a super public play. I'll take Orlando, though, lay the points. They've been consistent winners at home, 15-7 against the spread. Bulls have been playing better, but I'll still stick with the Magic here.
Jovan.
Yeah, I'm on Orlando also. Just a better defensive team. You know, looks like they they did play the Spurs last game. You know, but they won 4 out of their last 5. You know, so I would like to, catch a team on the upswing early, and I think I'm going to do that with Orlando.
Big Al.
I'm going to go the other way than the other guys. The Bulls lost 2 home games to the Magic back in November, so it's double revenge situation here for Chicago. Chicago's 62-41 ATS when playing with double revenge on the road. I'll grab the points.
Costi.
I'm on the Wayne Scotts. Love the Magic in this spot. Chicago on the road in their last 3 road games, they went to Memphis and won, big deal, to Charlotte and won, big deal, and to Portland. Those are their last 3. Before that, they lost to the Lakers and they lost to the Suns. So when they play good teams on the road, they lose. And when they lose outright. They don't cover. So I don't like it. I like what I'm seeing out of the Magic. They're healthy, and when they're healthy, like Tony said, they play much better ball. And to touch up on what Jovan said, I like to grab a team early on the rise and get it in early before the lines start getting overinflated on them. And I think 5 is a good number. I think they'll get the job done.
I'm on Orlando as well. 34-18 against the number this season, league best. They've covered in 65% of their games. These boys are just the cover-making, money-making machine. And when I look at it from the basketball aspect, I think the Magic are just head and shoulders the better team in this one tonight. I do. They're playing the much better basketball. They started to kind of heat back up. They've already kicked the crap out of Chicago in Chicago twice this season. I think they come back home and get it done here. I think Costi summed it up. The Bulls, they are on a 3-game road winning streak, but you got to look at it with a grain of salt. I mean, who do they beat on that road trip? Memphis, Charlotte, and the Blazers, 3 of the worst 5 teams in the league. I got the Magic here. I think they win that one fairly comfortably. Double-digit win for Orlando.
Yep. They got like 2 starting lineups now with everyone healthy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
They have a big edge on the bench, I think. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. Agree with that as well.
We got the Sixers and the Wizards. Sixers laying 4.5. I lean Sixers. They're a falling knife right now, so I'm not really sure if I want to try to catch it. The thing is the Wizards at home, they're just a fade. Like, just don't even overcomplicate it. If you fade the Wizards at home, you're gonna make some good money. And I could see this being the bounce back spot for Philadelphia. I could. They've already kicked the crap out of the Wizards 3 times this season. I think they make it a 4th, go for the season sweep. Give me the Sixers. Costi?
It's a tough one. I'm not going to be betting it. I'm leaning to the Sixers, but they've just been god awful since the Embiid injury. They can't figure it out. Maxey is questionable today. I don't want to bet it if he's not going to play. I hate this game altogether. I mean, I almost want to pull a Ruffolo on this one, but I'll lean toward the Sixers.
Big Al.
Yeah, I mean, ever since Embiid's been out, I'm not going on or against Philadelphia, just staying away from their games completely. I'm passing.
Jovan.
Yeah, I'm on Philly. I saw enough of the Wizards last night. Even though they did hang around against the Celtics, Philly should bounce back in this one. 4-game loser streak, haven't covered a damn games. In that time frame, and it should be a get right spot against a Wizards team that makes too many mistakes on the court. I don't know if any of their new acquisitions are playing, but they got roasted down low by Porzingis, and because the Celtics were playing lethargically in that game and didn't expose the lack of depth that they had in the paint. It didn't really hurt them as much as it should have. But I think in this one, feed whoever down low. Tyrese Maxey, drives in the lane. He get what he wants, and this should be a win in the cover for the Sixers.
Brian.
If you had a gun to my head and I had to bet this game, I probably would take the Washington Wizards plus the points. Wizards lost by 45 to the Sixers, I think, last time they met, and the Sixers are vulnerable. They seem to be really backsliding. I'll take Wizards at home plus the points.
Tony T.
Yeah, I like the over in this game. Both teams in poor defensive form. Boy, Philly's defensive form is really tanked here without Embiid. But acquiring Buddy Hield was interesting here because what you get with Buddy Hield is you get offense with bad defense. And I think that impacts the culture of the team. It's really, I could with the coaching change. I don't think this is the kind of guy Doc Rivers, if he was there, would have wanted because of his defensive play. And Hield is projected to play 34 minutes in this game. So that means offense with bad defense. Give me the over.
Fair enough. Next game up, we got my team, my new team, my guys. Them Atlanta goddamn Hawks, man. They land 4.5 on the Houston Rockets. I'm a Hawks guy now, man. I've been on. I'm stay on. I faded their ass all to start the year. Faded them. Just was blindly we're just gonna pick against the Hawks. The thing is, they were so bad that now people got in that same mode as I did. We're just going to fade the Hawks. We're just going to fade their ass. And now there's value on the other side. And not only is there value on the other side, but they're playing their best basketball of the season. Atlanta's hooping right now, man. I don't even know if people know. Yes, they lost to the Clippers and Boston. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, those are the best team in the league in Boston and probably 3 in Clippers. So I'm not going to be mad at them for losing that game. They fought hard with the Clippers in that game. They really should have covered, for far as I'm concerned. And then the Boston game, they did cover. Then they came back, smacked up Philly. They already beat Houston in Houston back in December, 134-127. We know Houston hoops in Houston. Houston on the road, it's just a fade. It just is what it is. I'm done trying to catch the knife. I'm done trying to say this is the spot. They're going to wake up here. How the hell do you lose to the Raptors yesterday? It don't even make sense. They did try to fight and come back, but I just think that they just wasted energy. Now on the back end of a back-to-back with travel, had to leave Toronto, probably go through customs. Now in Atlanta, it's a terrible spot. Hawks, again, playing their best basketball of the season. Rockets only got 5 wins on the road. They're a fade. I know Atlanta's terrible against the number at home, but I got them here today. They've been better. I'm on them. Oh, Costi.
I'm with you 1,000% on your analysis. That's exactly what I would bring up. And then honestly, since the end of January, we started taking the Hawks basically on every game since the end of January. They've been covering, they've been winning, and I still think the bookmakers haven't adjusted it enough. later in the month, if they keep winning, this line will be 6. Right now, it's 4.5. Houston's almost an auto fade. Not last night. I was on them as well. And it was wire to wire. They were never ahead, ever, throughout the entire game. They're not a good road team. And the Hawks are hooping on, like we always said, on paper, we were confused why this team kept losing throughout the year. We're like, you shouldn't be this bad. What is going on? It makes no sense. And finally, they're figuring it out. And NBA is a situational sport where if you see something, you roll with it, and you want to get on that train early rather than late. And I think today you could get on it early, and I think 4.5 is a good number. I'm all over the Hawks. I love this game today.
Big Al.
I have absolutely nothing on this game, so I won't force it. I'll just pass.
Big Al, man, come on, man. You was on the Hawks during the wrong time of the season. Now it's the time.
Man.
Passing.
Fair. Jovan,
I've got 15 games for sale today.
I get it. I just got to pull your leg.
That's it? That seems like a small number on a Saturday for you.
It is.
154 games. Plus 11 NBA. And
Jovan, what you like in this one, my man?
Yeah, I'm on the Hawks. I've been riding the Hawks a little bit, in key situations. This is another key situation against the Rockets team. Know what they're about on the road. They don't cover. They don't win usually. And like I said, I look for these teams to know that's slowly but surely, on the upswing. And it's real at this point. This is what I expect the Hawks to be: a team that beats and more likely covers against the bad teams, and a team that's going to lose. And depending on the spread, covers against good teams like they did in Boston.
I'm 100% in agreement with you there, Jovan.
So
I think they're out of that just fade their ass streak they were on earlier this season, and now, like you say, it's kind of pick your spots.
Yeah, and they're at full strength. So, before, you could say they didn't have a couple key guys that they rely on. First it was Jalen Johnson, who they got back, and then DeAndre Hunter. So, yeah, I'm on the Hawks in this spot.
Atlanta. Brian B., you joining us?
You guys need to stay off of my Atlanta Hawks. I'm going to have to take a Ruffolo here and pass. There's just too many people liking the Hawks for me to like them today. So I'll pass on this one.
Brian been on the Hawks too, man. You can't get off, Brian. You got to stay on.
I'm jumping off today. Jumping off.
Fair. Tony T.
the total opened 238. It's now 242. You know where I'm at. I'm on the under in this game. Atlanta's not a very good three-point shooting team. Houston's missing their scorer, Van Fleet. Easton's a scorer off the bench who's been banged up. We know Houston's not a very good road team. They're not a very good offensive team on the road. And, of course, the game plan here for Houston is just to try to be like a Memphis, just slow the game down, ugly it up with Dylan Brooks, and go after Trae Young. I look for the under in this one.
I kind of like that angle, Tony T. I ain't gonna lie to you. Pacers, Knicks. Pacers laying 3.5. Tony T, I'll come back to you.
Pacers and the Knicks in this one. You know, the injuries here for the Knicks are a concern with, of course, Brunson's a big one. I don't know if Bogdanovich is able to play. I'm not even looking at the numbers in this game because you got pretty much a healthy Indiana because Halliburton looks like he's going to play against a banged up, a clustered, injured Knicks team. So in this one, I would have to definitely look at the Pacers in this one, laying the 3.5, just based on health alone.
Brian B.
Yeah, for me, I agree with Tony T. I'm going to take the Pacers, lay the points. Pacers off that embarrassing home loss. I think they get it done on the road here, laying the points.
Javon.
Yeah, I'd like to know what Jalen Brunson's status is for this one, because he is a difference maker, even with all the injuries that the Knicks are going through. With that said, right now, I would lean Pacers, but I've seen the Pacers, too many times not be able to take advantage of teams, who are in a bad way on an injury front. So, Jalen Brunson might change my mind in this one if he's playing.
Yeah, I definitely get that. I'm kind of in the same notion. I like the Pacers here. I don't know if I love it. The thing is, I was telling you guys earlier about how I want to fade teams that just made trades, and the Knicks kind of fit that system. And I think it's going to take a second for them to gel all the way together. Got a lot, and they're dealing with Randall's out, and Anunoby's out, Brunson's banged up. We got new guys coming in. It's just a lot of moving pieces in New York. And in that, I know they've been on this little homestand, but I feel like they've beaten the teams they're supposed to, and they kind of lost to the teams that are better than them. The Mavs, the Lakers, when the Lakers want to wake up and hoop, I think they are better than the Knicks. The thing, when the Knicks are fully healthy, when the Knicks get fully healthy, I think they can go to the Eastern Conference Finals. I really believe that. I think they can beat the Bucks in the second round and face Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. But we're not quite there yet. I got to see him get back healthy. I want to see what's up with Brunson, and I want to see if Burks and Bogdanovich play in this one. But I'm leaning Pacers right now today. I'll tweet you guys out later about this game as soon as we get some news. Costi?
Same way. Leaning Pacers in this game. This is not the New York Knicks team that won all those games in a row and was just lights out. They had everybody. OG was hooping. He finally molded himself after the trade in the rotation. Randall, Brunson, they were all healthy. Now, you don't even know if Brunson's going to play today. The other two part of the big three are out. It could be a trap. I mean, I don't love it because I could easily see with whoever plays for New York, they could just get the outright win just because. So I don't love it, but I can't take the Knicks. I don't love this game. It's truly a 50-50 game, even if Brunson doesn't play. I don't know. Leaning toward Pacers here.
What you like in this one, Big M McMorty?
Definitely Indiana. 9 days ago, they lost, I think, by 4 points to these Knicks. So it's a revenge game. They're coming off that home loss. They were favored by 6.5 at home versus Golden State. They got shellacked. Indiana now 133 and 109 ATS off an upset home loss. I'll take the Pacers.
Pacers. Next game up, we got the Cleveland Cavs out on the road facing the Raptors. Raptors got it done yesterday. I wish Mitch was here so he could show me the do not bet list. I don't care. I ain't falling for it. I'm fading the Raptors' ass. I'm taking Cleveland. Cleveland is the hottest team in the league, just flat out. And you will not catch me on the other side. I'm just at that point with them. Until they cool off, I'm not even looking at the other side of the Cleveland Cavs. It's either with them or past the game for me. They're a small market team too, so they don't get the attention that they deserve. If this was like a bigger market team, bro, everybody would be talking about them, and nobody's talking about Cleveland really. Nobody. They're head and shoulders the better team here. They should win the game by double digits. I'm not overly in love with it because I do think they're starting to become overvalued a bit because of how hot they are. But again, I'm not even looking in the direction of Toronto. So it's Cleveland or nothing for me here in this one. Costi?
Cleveland or nothing for me too. Back end of a back-to-back for Toronto. They just got off that home win. They barely squeaked it out at the end. I mean, Houston tried very hard to come back after losing all game, but they pulled it out. I think they'll have tired legs. Is Cleveland overvalued? Yes. But they're healthy. And when they weren't healthy, they were still hooping. So what that means to me is their backups have played valuable minutes in the league this season. And this is a team that could grind out an 8.5-point win. So when it's close at the end and maybe they're up 14, they're not gonna give up the lead. I think Toronto gets blown out at home. Cleveland or nothing for me also.
Big out.
I mean, the only game Cleveland's lost was a horrible situational spot when it was Milwaukee's, game after the coach got fired, right? Mm-hmm. I think that was Prunty who coached that game. The one 26-116 loss. Outside of that, they've won every game. I like Cleveland here. Rested road favorites of -8 or more points off 8 or more wins. 55 and 24 ATS. I think this is a roast. I'll lay it.
Javon.
Yeah, I'm on Cleveland. Second out of a back-to-back. Raptors on the 2-game winning streak. They're not going to win the third. It's going to be a double-digit victory. My guy, Donovan Mitchell, going to go off for 30+. It's going to be one of those type of games. Lay it.
Lay it. Brian, you laying it?
Yeah, I'll lean towards the Cleveland Cavaliers here. Too hot, and they have an extra day of rest. Raptors back-to-back. So just a lean to Cleveland here.
Tony T.
I like the Raptors here plus the 8.5. There's some
Ooh,
nines out
okay.
there as well. To Cleveland, 17th in road offensive efficiency. I've got this game about 6 points here for Cleveland. So I've got an edge here with Toronto. And also, too, I've got pretty much a healthy Toronto here with Quickly, Trent, Barrett, Barnes in the lineup total. I got healthy Toronto. It is a back-to-back, but it was a home back-to-back, so there's no travel involved here. So I'll take the points.
And Tony T, I get that. I do, because I think Cleveland, because of the win streak, is starting to become a little overvalued. I get that. I do. Like you said, line should probably be 6, but it's 8.5. That I don't think that bucket does enough for me, though. In another spot, probably it's enough to keep me off. I don't know for the Raptors if it's enough to keep me off. Is basically what I'm trying to say. I get it though. I do think the line is kind of high, 8.5. And Cleveland, I don't bet them on the road very often. At home is where I love the Cavs. Let's see. Let's keep it rolling, fellas. Let's keep it moving. We almost out of here. 2 games left. I think this is a very interesting game. This game makes me nervous. We got the Phoenix Suns and the Golden State Warriors. Warriors at home dogs. Both teams playing well, man. Both teams started off the season fade. Now, as the season starts to progress, they heating up. They're heating up. I'm taking Phoenix here. It's not a premium bet for me. It's not, but I'm on Phoenix. They've kicked the crap out of the Warriors all season. 3-0 is the season series. I think they make it 4-0. B, yes, the Warriors were hooping on that road trip. They've been much better on the road than they've been at home. That's weird because last year we know it was the exact opposite. But I have to take into account the competition for Golden State. Memphis, then lost to Atlanta, then beat Brooklyn, then beat Philly. Philly and Brooklyn both are falling right now, so those are not the sexiest of wins. Indiana's a good win. I'll give them credit for that Indiana win. I'll give them credit for that. That's a good win. Coming back home where they've struggled all season off the significant road trip, Suns have kind of owned them this season. It's not enough for me to try to take Golden State at home. I'm going to take Phoenix. Costing?
Phoenix for me. I love what I'm seeing out of this team. The fact that I'm not really worried about a point spread, only 2 points on the road. It's like exactly what you said. Golden State's been the complete opposite of last year. Really good on the road and just average at home. And that's very unique for this team where they usually really have a home field advantage. So, I don't know. It's Suns for me. Klay Thompson's questionable. I just think anytime Durant comes back there, he wants the ball in his hands and he's going to just shoot. And he's going to shoot a lot of buckets. And they have a lot. Beal's finally coming into himself and getting not only the minutes that he's always had, but now he's scoring 20+. I love what I'm seeing out of this team, and they're just heating up. Suns for me.
Big Al.
I'm going to take Golden State, double revenge.
Triple revenge.
Triple revenge, but all I need is double revenge.
Yeah.
Golden State, when playing with double revenge against an opponent with a 700 or worse win percentage, Golden State's 27 and 14 ATS. Just Golden State for me.
Javon.
Yeah, I'm on Phoenix. Both of these teams are hot, but there's a talent gap between these two teams.
I think so too.
And, the fact of the matter is Phoenix been smacking them around lately. So I got to roll with the Suns.
Brian B., what you doing here?
Yeah, I'll lean towards the Suns. They've been smacking them around. I think they covered 6 the last 7. Sometimes I like to go against the grain, but I just think the Suns are the play here. I'd probably just take them on the money line, though, lay the juice.
Tony T.
Yeah, I like the Suns. You got a healthy Booker. Durant looks like a Beal is probable, so you got healthy, the big 3 in for Phoenix. It's going to really make the Warriors, Curry, Thompson, Kuminga, really work hard defensively. And I think that's the key there is they're going to have to really work hard to guard the perimeter. So I like the Suns in this one.
Last game up. Blazers, Pelicans. Tony T, come back to you.
Yeah, in this one, I definitely like the over in this game. We're seeing the Portland Trailblazers spike up a little bit offensively, but defensively they give up a lot of points. And New Orleans 5-2 to the over in back-to-back games. They're going over by an average of 9 points a game in back-to-back, so they'll go over in this one.
Brian B.
I was going to take a Ruffolo again on this, but I'll lean towards the Blazers. Pelicans on a back-to-back off the loss to the Lakers last night. I'll take the points in Portland.
Jovan.
Yeah, I'm on Portland. Just a situation where I think it's just a little bit too many points. Portland does have some players that could get up and score, even though they do give up points as well. But I think they'll keep it within distance against the Pelicans.
Big Al.
I mean, this is an ugly game. I mean, Portland's one of the teams I just don't want any part of. There's several teams in the league this year like that. I think this is a nice bounce back situation for New Orleans. Falls into a few of my bounce back situations. I play on road favorites of 5 or more points off losses. So I'll take New Orleans. I'm not really concerned about it being the second night of a back-to-back. I think New Orleans blows them out.
Costi.
That laundry list of injuries for Portland is insane. Do I expect them for Grant to drop close to 50 points again? No. And Simmons is probably out. I don't trust it. I actually like the bounce back spot off the loss to the Lakers where they should have won that game going into it. They're the better team and they just got blown up. So I think they're going to be angry and they're going to want to show up and not lose 2 in a row because the Pelicans have been playing well. I don't love it. 8's a lot of points, but especially on the road, but I'm going to lay it. Pelicans for me.
Pelicans for me too. The other night I had Detroit Pistons money line, right? Lakers sold, couldn't get it done on Kobe night. Turned my TV off, went to sleep. Blazers were kicking the crap out of the Pistons. Check my phone in the morning. I said, Pistons, OT, money line, turn me up. And with that being said, man, if you can find a way to poop away a game like that at home against Detroit, I can't trust you in this spot. Like I said, I just think the Pelicans, they have gotten back to playing Pelican-style basketball. One little bump in the road is not enough for me to say F the Pelicans. And the Lakers needed that game yesterday. They really needed the one before that too. But the Lakers have to start winning games. And talent-wise, the Lakers are one of the best teams in the league. They were just in the Western Conference Finals. So I'm not going to shun upon New Orleans for losing that game yesterday. That was almost a must-win spot for the Lakers. The way they was talking about the Lakers on the media yesterday, they had to come out and respond like that. And I kind of feel bad I wasn't on the Lakers because I should have known better. But in this one, I just see the Pelicans as head and shoulders the better team, like head and shoulders. Like I think they're better at every position group in the starting lineup, and even the bench is better. And this injury report for the Blazers is really concerning. Scoot, Aiden, Brogdon, and Simons. Who the hell's going to play? Who the hell going to be playing? So it's Pelicans for me here. Would I be surprised if Portland snuck in the back door? No, I wouldn't. But I wouldn't bet them. I would take the Pelicans, me personally. That concludes NBA, fellas. I know there's some hockey. I know I saw some guys.
No, we already passed on hockey.
Hey. I know I saw some guys asking about hockey.
Jay's right now. There's snow on the ground where Jay's at right now.
Mitch said we're passing on hockey.
There's snow on the ground.
That was snow out there in Denver. But I was gonna say, I know y'all wanted us to talk about it, but I'm pretty sure Ruffolo dropped the wraparound and Rod dropped his hockey videos. You guys can go check them out there. It's already been a 2-hour show. What are you guys selling today? And let's talk parlays. So, Tony T, you got a parlay for me? And what are you selling today?
College basketball parlay. I'm like in here with Stanford and Oregon State in a parlay college hoops, and I've got got lots of on over at Pick Dogs. Best bet in the NBA. Also, big 3-pack in prime time from college hoops. Now, as we have the early games going underway right now, so get on board. Of course, the long-term pass will serve you well. 3, 7, or $30 sports pass. Get on board. Use promo code PICK. You'll save that 15% off.
There you go. Hop on with Tony T today. Brian.
Well, for me, coming in ranked number 1 in college basketball, I got 5 premium plays in college hoops. But if you want my best bet, it's my titanium play. You got all day to get in on it. 10 p.m. start on that one. My biggest play in the Pac-12 this season. I'm 23-8-1, 74% on my last 32 titanium plays. 52-21-1, 71% over last 74. So head on over to pickdogs.com, grab that titanium best bet winner.
Well, Brian B, man, that play today rolling. I mean, 23-8-1, can't beat it. I mean, you cashing at a 74% clip for a month. Hop on that. Jovan, what you selling today? And do you have a parlay for me?
So my 3-pack already went off for the noontime games. Unfortunately the website's been down, so my other packages haven't went up yet. With that said, I have 15 college basketball plays that were loaded. My NBA is not loaded right now. If it's working, I'll put it up. But yeah, if you want one of my picks or any of my picks, hop on something long term.
There you go. Javon's always loaded on the weekends, so he's locked in today. Speaking of another guy that's always loaded on the weekends, Big Al McMurdy usually is as well. What you got for sale today, Big Al? And do you have a parlay for me? Jovan, did you give me a parlay?
Oh, no. BYU, Murray State, and Nebraska.
There you go. What you got for me today, Big Al?
For my parlay, I'm going to go with some really horrible teams, Stonehill and Queens. As far as what I have for sale, I'm kind of like Jovan, lots of games. I think I've got 14 or 15 for sale right now, including an NCAA conference underdog of the year. I've also got my Ivy League game of the year for the season, 258 and 200 in basketball, long term over the last 3+ years in basketball, up 169.4 net games after the juice. So folks, if they want to join, team me up with Jovan, you can get 30 games today. Just go to Pick Dogs whenever it's back up and do the 2-for-1 handicapper special.
The site is back up.
It is back up. Okay.
Yeah.
What you got for me today, Costa?
Right now, just posted all the NBA for today. In about an hour, I'm waiting on a couple other groups to report to me. I'm going to be doing the full college basketball slate. So my sharp trading plays is nothing to do with you buying anything directly. It's a completely free consultation. I don't take on clients that have bankrolls of 10,000 or less. For guys that are much bigger bankrolls that have 50, 100,000, Al's All Access is for you. It's a high volume system that's unitized on every sport. Al posts his games usually weird times in the morning, so you're going to get them before you wake up every single day. You're not going to have to wait for them, and you're going to get the best line possible. And if you're also looking for just Jay's All Access NBA, the guy's lights out right now. Smacked the Kings for a 7-unit last night. We were chatting about it around midnight last night, but the guy's on fire. So if you're just looking for Jay's NBA, it's the same number for all three, 775-636-7674.
There you go. There you go. All right, fellas. So I have premium plays coming. I think I have 2 in there currently. Of course, you guys know we've been dealing with site issues. They'll be up shortly. But when it's all said and done, I'll probably have 4 or 5 NBA plays today. And I might have a couple college. later on. No, they're later today. So be on the lookout for that. I've been red hot this last week, bro. It's insane. 21-10 last 7 days, 67%, up over 1,200 units. Number one last 7 here at Pick Dogs. Just trying to keep the momentum rolling forward. If you're rocking with me, rock with me. You can scoop up my NBA play of the day. You can hop on something long term, or you can pair me up with one of these great handicappers right here on the screen. Parlay. Let's go with the Arizona Coyotes money line. They are dogs to the Predators. Stop it. Give me Oklahoma. They're going to blow the doors off of Oklahoma State. And give me my favorite college hoops team now. It's no longer Oklahoma. It's Iowa State. I'm rocking with them boys. They're going to get that shit done. Give me Iowa State. 3-teamer. That's the show, fellas. I popped in late, but I had a lot of fun. I appreciate each and every one of you guys joining us. Any last words from any of you guys?
Money make it Saturday.
That's it.
Saturday. We'll be back tomorrow. Super Bowl Sunday. Tune in. We'll be back. I'll be home too. So back to regular scheduled programming. Appreciate each and every one of y'all. Let's make some money today. It's been your Pick Dogs crew. We out here. Peace.
Yep.